The retail market is on shaky ground as rising prices and excess inventory weighs on margins. But have those same issues bled into the resale market? For that, let's bring in StockX CEO Scott Cutler. Scott, always a pleasure to speak with you. Give us some insight into the customer profile right now that you're seeing continue to come back to StockX. As we know, some of the perhaps higher income consumers, they're continuing to buy and lean into categories that StockX directly deals with.
Well, I think you had a great setup, which is the macro backdrop, which faces, consumers are facing everywhere: inflation, fears, supply chain challenges. We put out this report to really highlight some of the new brands that are accelerating during a challenging macro environment. And I think the way we think about it is this generation of consumers that continually go after the hottest product, brands that are doing really interesting collaborations with one another, and still looking at generally the things that trade on StockX as an asset class, or things that you look at in terms of your portfolio value of really interesting things that we've highlighted in this report.
Scott, what are you seeing overall in terms of demand, given the macro environment? Even if certain products are still being hotly traded on the platform, overall, what have you guys been seeing in terms of sales trends?
Well, if again, as you look at the things that we highlighted in this report, I think what we see are sort of these pockets of really interesting excitement. In sneakers, a couple of different brands I would highlight: Hoka up over 3,000% on the back of a really interesting collaboration with Bodega and Moncler. Puma, fueled by LaMelo Ball, a great signature shoe, but that is a resurgence of a brand. New Balance, again, leveraging the same collaboration opportunity and a population of a older silhouette, the 550. In collectibles, which is an exciting new category for us, my old favorite of Hot Wheels, up 500% on a year-over-year basis. Collaborations with Tesla, Gucci, or Lego that's fueled by collaboration with Star Wars and F1. So I think what we see is brands leveraging these collaborations and scarcity model to drive excitement for product, even in a real challenging macro backdrop.
Scott, we were reporting earlier on the hot mess that's Kohl's. A lot of inventory building up. They're not alone. I mean, what are you seeing on your own platform? Are consumers just pulling back? Are they not shopping like they were 6 months ago?
So remember, we're a marketplace that connects sellers and buyers from around the world. And so we don't carry inventory. Anything that's released by brands anywhere around the world can essentially immediately become accessible in our catalog for those consumers. And so earlier in the year, when you saw supply chain challenges impacting the ability for brands to get products from geographic locations, our product was not traveling across the oceans in containers, but it really via packages. So the consumer, even during this time, has been able to get access to the right product at the right time. And price is always something that's fluctuating in our market. And so as you see even the demand and the preferences change for consumers on the platform, that most consumers have less in their wallet to spend on discretionary goods, you see that reflected in prices dynamically in the platform every single day.
And so perhaps one of the best metrics there, as I've been a purchaser on StockX multiple times, one of those metrics can be the buy it now rate, perhaps. Are you seeing any kind of pullback or deceleration in the number of consumers who, at a time or at least a year-over-year comp, when perhaps they were a little bit more gleeful about hitting buy it now instead of submitting a bid only to be outbid and have somebody else's bid be accepted? Are you seeing a deceleration in the number of people that are saying, I'm willing to just buy it now at the asking price that anybody who's listing an item is putting out on StockX?
You're very attuned to the unique aspects of buying on StockX. We haven't seen a big dramatic change in terms of that buying behavior because, again, for that buyer, if you are buying it now, you're buying it at the lowest price that any seller is willing to sell that product for anywhere around the world. So you're actually getting probably the best price available. But it's always also been part of our marketplace that a buyer, if they don't like that price, they could bid and they could indicate a different price. And in that instance, then the seller has the opportunity, if they have that product, to sell now at that price. And so I think it's both that opportunity to buy and sell now, as well as express your indication of what you'd be willing to buy or sell, something that has always created a dynamic aspect on StockX. But those percentages of buy now versus bid haven't really changed dramatically, even in the face of maybe a more challenging environment.
Scott Cutler, StockX CEO, joining us here. I'm going to peruse the site again. I always do. It's just a matter of whether or not I can hit buy now at this point. StockX CEO Scott Cutler joining us here this morning. We appreciate it.